the POV angle right now too. I'm looking down
Yeah,
and
it's
up.
down low. Yeah, looking up at you now. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the prime angle for everybody to see me.
Yeah. Mine's up in like the corner still. So there you go. Perfect.
This is
Um
my posing angle. I set the camera down at the ground.
I used to set my shit like real low, like kind of like almost down at my knees, but I started to set it up higher, just more like eye level.
I mean, that's how I used to do it because I just had my phone, but then I bought a
Yeah.
tripod and now I can do anything I want.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
That's how it was for me. I bought like a 60-inch tripod or something,
yep.
something like that. And before that, I was resting it on like a foam roller, like my phone just on a foam roller, and that was the angle I was doing. But then I did like a test, and I sent it to Chewy, I think, and I was like, "Do you like the lower one or the higher one?" And he's like, "Yeah, definitely the higher one." It's like, "All right, bet." So ever since then, I've done the same setting on my tripod pretty much every single time.
Yeah, I still need to find a tripod for my like legit professional camera because I have one that lets me do horizontal angle like
Yeah,
for wide frame, but I want vertical so I can have like Instagram reel type pictures and videos and stuff like that.
yep.
So I need to get a tripod that can support a camera flipped on its side.
Yeah, you just need to mine flips on its side to do vertical and horizontal for my phone, and it has a GoPro attachment, but it doesn't have the 1/8 screw or whatever that
Yeah.
like is universal for cameras. But they're
Well,
pretty usually
it has
pretty.
to have like a solid base too, because that's a heavy ass thing to have your camera
Yeah, that's
flipped
true.
over on its side.
Yeah,
Almost has to have like a counterweight.
yeah. It might be more expensive because of that, or have a wider base or something
it's
for the
it's like a
tripod.
12-foot platform I take just from
Yeah,
my tripod.
you have to like open it up like an umbrella. You just like you just like knock people out when you open up your tripod.
You know, there's the turf area at Empire.
Yeah.
I just take the entire turf area.
Yeah, it's like built in. You just like pull it out. It's like some sort of like secret tripod. You're like, only I can use this. I got an in with the owners.
Yeah, Shad lets me use this.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
But
it's
how's
funny.
the uh-huh.
Well, Empire had they did a photo shoot the other day, and they turned off one of the fans to do the photo shoot.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like to just make no like external force for the person who was getting filmed or whatever, but they turned it off,
Yeah.
and then they didn't turn it on for the rest of the night, so it got steamy over in the pull
Oh,
down corner.
damn. Yeah. Was it that chick that they posted recently? Because there's some like an Instagram post like just all one girl for like four
Yeah,
different
I
things.
saw that. I don't know. I wasn't there for the photo shoot, so I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's interesting that they do that sometimes. It's just like a random ass person.
Yeah, they also do member shoutouts, which is nice. They haven't done one in a while, but the member shoutouts is always cool.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
they
Yeah.
just like take just someone who's there. Like literally, I'm guessing they just walk in with a camera and go, "You look cool," and then they take
Yeah.
pictures and videos of you, ask you some questions, then you just go home.
Yeah, that'd be dope to be kind of included on that, but yeah, I saw that post and I was like, there's like nothing really in the caption that like pointed to why they recorded her specifically. Usually be like, oh, she's like a trainer or like she works front desk or whatever. But
Yeah, I can tell you,
it's just like a basic. What's that?
She doesn't train or work the desk there. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I was like, it just was like a basic caption. I was like, all right. I mean, if they want to post it, that's fine. It was just,
Slay Queen.
yeah, for real. Slay. How's
Jesus,
the Arnold training going though?
it's good. I have never felt more in with my workouts before. I
Yeah,
PR'd on squats yesterday. Didn't even plan to, but I just walked in. I did like two warm up sets, a working set, and I was like, "Oh, I feel it today." And I did 355 for two, which for me is the since I started recording PR weights, that's the highest I've squatted before. So
that's what's up.
that got me going.
Yeah,
And I don't know what it is. I just have a lot of strength. I mean, I know what it is. It's super intense training, and it forces muscle
actual food.
longevity too.
Yeah,
So like, because not just like how long the workout is, but how many days because I'm doing every muscle group twice a week basically.
Mm-hmm.
and that forces my muscles to really kick it into gear, and I'm able to. I don't know. I just feel great with it.
I mean, you're
And
shocking your body. You're doing something that you're not normally supposed to be doing.
yeah, I
So your
mean,
body's like, yo, what the
chest back
fuck?
is a weird split.
Yeah, it's you're literally shocking it. So you're making progress right now. And that's what's good. Like I had to change up mine. Simply changing my rep range has changed my entire workout, basically, and I leave feeling differently than I used to, you know?
Yeah,
So I
I
mean
mean,
the littlest changes sometimes.
I still have my progressive overload. So like, I'm doing every single week either a little bit more, like 1 or 2 reps, maybe adding the 2.5 pound plate or something like that, and just slowly building it up more and more. But like, for example, the last deadlifts, I know I can deadlift 3 plates no problem. But
Hmm.
the deadlift is put as the very last exercise after the chest and back workout, which
Hmm.
is absurd. And so I do a 10-6-4 split. So you fail at 10, fail at 6, fail at 4. And so I just do 1, 2, 3 for plates. Not that I fail at 10, but the first one's a good, like, warm up working set. And then six. So yeah, I fail right around 6 for 2 plates, because by this point I'm cooked. And so
Yeah.
3 plates for me to do 4, I was like, Jesus Christ. And this past one I did 5, so it's like just progressively putting it up and up a little bit more and more.
Yeah.
And it's great. I know that in a couple weeks when I go and I talk to my coach, or former coach, again, and talk to him about coming back. It will go back to his stuff, but by then it'll be foreign enough to me that switching back to it will give me, better results again, because I'll be
Yeah.
changing up my system again.
Yeah, you'll be shocking it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you'll be changing up your food and everything too. So your body will fucking go through it for a week at least,
Mm,
probably a
Yeah,
couple weeks. Your digestion's gonna shift. Your recovery is gonna shift. You're gonna probably feel tired and exhausted, but then you'll get used to it
yeah,
once your body learns how to properly use the nutrition you're taking in, the carbohydrate partitioning, glucose disposal, stuff like that. So it'll adjust, and that'll be interesting.
yeah. I mean, the one thing I will say when I go back to him is that I my diet right now works. I'm gaining weight. I have energy in the gym, so I'm gonna tell him, be like, make minor changes, because what I have right now is working, and I never gain weight. Like, it's taken me years to find something that works. So,
Yeah,
well, I'll work with them, but uh, I'll have almost like a list of demands for things like that I want to see this time around, because obviously
yeah,
me and him just didn't work last time. And a lot of it was me not having the mindset and the schedule, like, to be able to support it. But I've made changes in my life to open up that whole aspect of
yeah.
bodybuilding. So I don't
Yeah,
know. We'll see.
I was watching this video the other day that made me think of you, and I forgot to text you about it. I think it was Dave Palumbo. I've been watching a lot of his like older content that he's posted throughout the years, and a lot of his podcast stuff is kind of bullshit. He talks to some of the most retarded fucking coaches and shit ever. They'd be like, "Oh, McDonald's is like a daily requirement in the off season." It's bullshit. But anyways, he has a lot of like hyper focused videos, like before I started Clen, I watched his video where he was talking about like proper doses of Clen and how it works and his recommendations, stuff like that. So I was watching this video and he was just talking about, I think he was talking about like what it takes to get through prep. And one of the things he mentioned is that when you're a bodybuilder, he's like, one injury will set you back so far. And he's like, it's something that I had to kind of accept getting into it, because he's like, I was doing other sports at the same time, and like the littlest injury from another sport set me back in the gym for bodybuilding. So he's like, when you're bodybuilding, that is the only sport you can do. He's like, you can't do any other sports in conjunction, because it'll set you back so far, especially when you're doing something like prep where you have to be dialed in for weeks and months at a time. A little injury is going to set you back and probably make you lose the show. So like he had to like kind of cut that shit out, and it just reminded me of you, because you had your injury from basketball, or you jammed your finger or whatever it was, and then you had something with
Broke my finger.
yeah. Well, I mean, it like, wasn't it you were like, you like jammed it or something, that's what broke it?
Yeah, so I got knocked unconscious and I fell on my hand, and my full body weight snapped the pinky bone. So
Yeah, That's what I thought. Yeah, it was like a pressure. It wasn't like it wasn't like a bend. It was like a pressure that snapped it.
Yeah,
So yeah, so it just reminded me of that, and like how you have to kind of evolve your life around it. Seabum did actually talk about that. I haven't gone all the way through it yet. Watching that podcast episode with that guy. Everybody probably knows what I'm talking about. It just came out Monday. It was 2 hours long. So I'm about halfway through now, and he's talking about how stressful it is, blah blah blah. And one of the things he said is that he's like right after the show, it's just he's like I really focus on my girlfriend or his fiance now, where it was his girlfriend last year, but he's like my fiance because I neglect her for basically like 3 months.
yeah,
And I'm like, that's how it is. Like your life literally evolves around it. And like I'm 4 weeks out, and it's my life is starting to more and more evolve around it. So like that's why you were like, oh, I just can't like you're like I can't get the food in. Like that was your problem. And I'm like, that's why I was like, if you can't do that, then you're not gonna like basically I agreed with everything you and your coach were saying. It's like you got to be able to do at least the food in order to do the rest of it. And there's so much more on top of that that you have to be able to do in order to prioritize bodybuilding. And it really truly does like take over your life if you really want to get out there with it and do well with it. It really does take over your life. So um, I'm I went through it, so I'm seeing you go through it, and I know what it's like. It's not fun. It's hard to
yeah.
accept a lot
I
of the
mean,
stuff you have to cut out.
that's what the big thing is cutting it out. Like I already
Yeah,
spoke with one of the teams that I play with for softball, and I told them this is my last season. I'm not returning next year.
yeah,
Um, I normally stream a lot too, and I haven't streamed in a month. Like I was making money streaming, and I just cut it out because I needed the time for this.
yeah.
And it's it, it's just a big change. And
Hmm.
I wasn't ready to do it a couple months back, but now I have no reason not to. So I'm just balls to the wall with it.
Yeah, no, it's very hard, and it takes a lot mentally to cut those things out. The first thing I cut was skiing, uh, especially during the winter, because when I would ski, I was skiing almost every weekend. You can ask Nick. Him and I went skiing almost every single weekend at a mountain in Vermont or New Hampshire, Massachusetts, whatever it is. Almost every single weekend. And then when I started getting into the gym and started like bodybuilding, I was just too tired. I was recovering, and I was just putting 2 hours in the gym every day and working and all of that. I was just like, I just can't do that. It just slowly slipped away to the point where I just wasn't going anymore. And like a whole season went by where I didn't go once. And I was like, yeah, that's it. I just can't ski anymore. I want to now, like just for like once a year, maybe go for like a few days or like a week in Colorado or something every year. Like that'd be
Yeah,
great. But it's not something I can do consistently. And then same with the motorcycle. Like if it wasn't for bodybuilding, I could have probably afforded my motorcycle still, minus the insurance. The insurance was ridiculous, but um, like I cut that out because on top of not just it taking up tons of money and wanting to put more money towards bodybuilding, it was also just very injury prone. I mean, the smallest little crash, you can get very, very injured. And then on top of that, you can die very easily. And the way that I was riding, it's very easy for me to kill myself. So the smallest slip up a lot of the time when I was riding I would end up dying. So it wasn't worth it anymore at that point. I'd rather just focus on bodybuilding. And that was extremely hard for me to give up because it was like I'm such an adrenaline junkie. It's just how I've always been. So like that was really hard for me to cut out. So I totally know what you're going through. It's not easy. That's why I'm always like, this is just what you got to do. Like you just got to eat more. You just got to focus more on it. You got to put more time into it. But again, what you put into it, you get out of it as well. So um,
yeah. The gym is the most honest form of, I don't know, feedback and anything you want to call it, because what you get out is precisely what you put in, nothing more, nothing less. So
mhm.
you either have it or you don't.
Yeah, exactly. And granted, that what I'm glad about is that anabolics has given me the open door in order for me to actually compete and be competitive in the sport. Where without it, I wouldn't have been competitive. So if you're someone who is like me, who not you, Stoph, but just someone listening, if you're someone who doesn't have the natural genetics to compete and you don't want to touch anabolics, which I recommend you don't. Anybody who's on anabolics would recommend against it ideally, but you don't want to touch it. Something that a lot of guys have to accept is just that they're not going to be competitive and they're not going to get where they want to go no matter how hard they try. Some of it just comes down genetics, and that's how it was for me. Like maybe if I could have put probably another like 5 years genetically, and I probably would have been like my look after 1 year of anabolics. Like that's like it would have taken so much more time and effort. Like if I probably put 10 more years into the gym naturally, I might be like maybe a tad bigger, but I wouldn't look the way that I look because you get
Yeah.
you get an enhanced look. There's a look that you get with anabolics, and I'm very happy to be able to have the opportunity to compete at potentially a professional level within the next couple of years. So there's a lot that you have to sacrifice, but at least I don't have to sacrifice quitting this, at least, which is good. But I think that time will tell as far as how your genetics plays out, because it took me a while to figure out my genetics. So I'm curious to see what ends up happening as you figure out your genetics.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a very, very natural athlete. Like anything that I want to do, I can do very easily and then get good at it pretty easily as well. Um, so the gym was more so just finding, like, training wise, finding the proper form and everything. Like, it took me a while to get deadlift form and proper form for like a overhead press for shoulders or stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
once I got the form down, it's bread and butter. Like I know what I'm doing, and I'm a workhorse, so it's not like I'm cheating myself in the gym. In fact, I even brought my brother, my brother who stands at the same height I am, but he's about, I don't know, if I weigh 210, he's, I don't know, probably like 80 pounds, no, maybe 70, 60 or 70 pounds lighter than me. So
Mm-hmm.
he's like a twig, and he did legs with us the other day, and he he put two posts up that night. The first one was hitting legs with the brother, about to get I don't know, like swole or something like that, and then a half hour later he posted, "I'm in over my head, send help." So
That's how it
it's
be.
it's the difference between, because he's trained with me in the past before bodybuilding
Yeah.
and everything, so he knows like, oh, you can go and get fit in the gym. But then he saw when I tap into like my rage or tap into my zone when I'm in the gym, like we did walking lunges, weighted walking lunges, and I mean, my top, well, not top set, because I like to do it outside where I can do a barbell and load up a fucking ton of weight, but we went super late, so outdoors wasn't open, so I had to use the small, like the regular, it's not the barbells, but it's the smaller ones. I don't know what they're called. It's the
Like
like
an
the
easy
easy bar, and
crowbar?
then, well, it's that, but then they have a straight one as well, um,
Okay.
with
So it's
just the
like a
rubber things on the
25.
end.
Oh, they're like the preloaded, like
Yeah, yeah,
built-in
yeah, yeah,
weights. Okay, I know what you're talking about
yeah.
now. Yeah, yeah.
And the max for that was 110, so I had 110 for my walking lunges,
Oh,
and
that sucks.
well, I do way more when
That's
I
what I'm saying.
plate load it, and
Yeah, that's not much weight.
yeah, and so I'm doing them, and I do extra because I'm trying to get the work out of it, and I get to the point where I'm dying, and he's looking at me, he's like, "Bro, just stop." And I was like, "There is no quit, there is no tomorrow. Come on, Rocky, what are you
That's
doing?"
how you got to train legs. Yeah.
Well, I do it for everything now, but just spam that Rocky quote.
Well,
Come
I'm
on,
saying,
Rocky.
yeah, the way you like legs is literally built like it's just such a dumb thing to say, but legs are built differently than the rest of our body.
Well,
Like
yeah,
that's what
because
I mean,
we're on it 90% of the day, so you have to train past that point of like exhaustion, basically.
not even just that, but the way we're built is that we're supposed to be able to, so fight or flight. And when we have flight, we're running away from something. We're supposed to be able to push past like muscle failure. Like that's the whole point of our legs. Like that's why any animal that like can run away from their predators can run for a very long time until they
Yeah.
literally collapse. So that's why you got to train legs past like your pain barrier when you're growing. I'm not doing that right now. My leg day really isn't too terrible right now, but when I'm in a bulk, I'm training past the pain barrier where it hurts so bad I want to stop, and then you keep going. Like that's how your legs are built to grow. Where the rest of your body isn't like that. You can't just like you don't just like do deadlifts until your back hurts so bad and then you just keep going. Like you mechanically fail way
Yeah,
sooner than your legs will ever mechanically fail. So it takes a lot more to mechanically fail in your legs, especially with the pain. There's a lot more lactic acid built up in your legs before they fail, where something else doesn't have that. And that's just simply because of how we're built biologically. So that's how you got to train them.
I
That's
hit
why
my
it takes a
brother
whole
with
nother. Mm-hmm.
I hit my brother with the Tom Platz. He was doing his I forget what his top weight was, but he went down and he was like, "That's it." And I was like, "Cool, 5 more." And then I started yelling at him.
Yeah.
He was like, "Bro, what are you doing to me?"
Oh, speaking of that, there's this guy at the gym today. So I was using the deadlift platform for straight leg deadlifts. And he was doing the hack squat that's next to the deadlift platform that has like a mirror right in front of it. And he had three people around him, a guy and two girls, and they were spotting him and they weren't saying shit, like dead quiet. And this dude's like dying going through this set. Like he's a big dude. Like it wasn't like he didn't know what he was doing. Like he totally
Yeah.
knows how to push his body. But I was like this close to going over there and like yelling at him to keep going because they're fucking dead silent. I'm like, you're
You
like, it's so
you need
awkward.
something. Yeah, you
Yeah,
need something.
like literally not saying anything. I'm like, I understand if it's like just you and one other person and it's like a mid set or something, but like this dude's like literally like almost screaming through the set. Like it was a little like his noises were exaggerated, but like I'm like, dude, say something. Like get him hyped up a little bit. But they were just dead quiet. And I'm like, this is fucking whack. And another thing I saw that drove me nuts, I keep forgetting to talk about it, is a couple of days ago, I saw this dude in the gym and he caught my eye because he was wearing those 90s pants, those 90s like parachute pants that guys are starting to wear now.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to call them, but it's like something like Rex Kwon Do would wear from like Napoleon Dynamite. If you've ever seen that, it's like that. So he's wearing those. He had one of those big gasp like thermal tees on, that are like $120, like the gigantic baggy shirt. And then he had like a $200 wolf pack bag, like the big one, like the 40-liter one. And I'm like, it caught my eye because he just spent so much money on clothes. And I'm like, and he had like, I think he had AirPods Maxes too. And I'm like, what the fuck? And this dude was failing on low row with one plate. And I'm
Jeez.
like, that's most guys' warm ups. I'm like, is he new to the gym? Like, is this like did he get
It
all that
might
thinking
be.
he needed it? Like, I was like, I just know marketing works because he definitely hasn't been in the gym for that long, and he has more expensive clothing and gear than I do.
Well, I was gonna say the more time you spend in the gym, the more you realize that you're just gonna go with whatever's clean that morning.
Exactly. Whatever is clean and fits. Like that's pretty much
Yeah.
it. And especially right now with me sweating, I just wear a shirt. Like I just wear a regular ass shirt. Like I wore a NASA shirt yesterday to the gym that just like is like a regular shirt from TJ Maxx because I just know I'm
Yeah.
going to end up sweating through it and then taking it off. So it's like you don't need like I spent so much money like probably like my first year in the gym on like stringers and like athletic shorts and shit like that, and then I just haven't bought shit like that since. Like
Yep.
besides shoes, like I bought some lifting shoes and they really do make a difference, but it's just the marketing is just there. I'm just like, wow, that's impressive. Like they actually like fucking got money out of this kid. Like it's just wild to me.
But I'll say like the professional brands, the ones that like you and I would actually use, those aren't being marketed to new people. Like for example, like Noble, the shoes I wear for lifting, I only see like big dudes wearing those at least at Empire. So I
I
don't know if that's the same for your experience.
um I see more here is a lot of the bigger dudes wear the same shoes that I wear, which is rider wear. Um I see a lot of those actually. It's surprising. And then I see a lot of Converses as well. I don't see much Noble at all. Um, and then I do see a lot of the newer guys wearing Gymshark though. A lot of newer guys wear a lot of Gymshark, and a lot of women wear Gymshark as well. Um, but like the more experienced guys, like some of the biggest dudes in the gym, like one of the biggest dudes. with like veins down his triceps on like a leg day at the gym. Like he's wearing like running shoes and like a t-shirt and shorts. Like he has like he's not there's nothing he has to prove anyways, but like it just shows the difference in experience. You know what I mean?
But that's what I mean. Like the longer you're in the gym, the more you just wear whatever.
Yeah, yeah. You just stop caring too much about what you're wearing. There's stuff that I like to wear to the gym because of how it makes me feel, but I'm not going to buy specifically gym marketed shit. But it was just
Except
interesting to see that
there's one thing that'll get both of us time in and time out, and
the
it's the
steel
steel.
shirts.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
the
oh
steel
yeah.
Instagram things. You and I will get them every time.
Whenever we see an ad, we send them to each other.
We do.
We both grab one.
This is well. I got 3 shirts off the last one. So
And they send them, and you just got to pay $10 for shipping, so
yep.
it ends up being worth it. And the pre-workout that comes with it's not bad.
I'm
The one
still
I
yet to
got,
find. I'm still yet to find that blue one that you have. I got light blue, but I don't have the blue that you have.
yeah. So the light blue one that we recently got, that's baby fucking blue. Like that's
That is
light blue.
also. I sweat clean through it, and you could see my chest tattoo through the shirt when you sweat through it.
Damn, that's what's up. Yeah, the turquoise one I have, I don't know when I got that. It was a random one, I think. And but the one that's surprisingly fits the best and has always fit the best is the black one with the white letters. It just
Yeah,
it just like perfectly hugs my delts and like perfectly fit. Like it's the perfect shirt. It's my favorite shirt to wear because it just fits so perfectly.
my perfect one is green with white lettering, but I got large and it shrunk, so it's perfect around my delts and chest. But then it's almost like a crop top because of how tall I am.
Yeah, I have the same problem too. Like because I have to buy shirts that fit my frame, but because of that, it ends up pulling up the rest of the shirt. So I have to buy
Yeah,
like you see a lot of bodybuilders buying them now, and I'm probably gonna end up having to hop on the bandwagon eventually. Is they buy those shirts with the long
oversized.
trunk. No, they're
Oh
not
yeah,
oversized, but like they're regular shirts, but then they have the long trunk, and they usually end in like a half circle on the front and
yep,
back because and then it ends up fitting almost normally because it's like their upper frame pulls it up so much,
yeah.
so I might end up having to start wearing those too, because it's getting ridiculous trying to wear regular ass shirts that just end up riding up to my waist. It's fucking annoying. But that's just one of the problems that we have to face, you know.
Yeah, and to kind of touch on a point earlier for not being committed and whatnot, I'm going on a camping trip. I leave tomorrow morning and I'm gone all weekend.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be quite literally in the mountains looking for things to lift to keep my workouts going. And that is our segue into today's topic.
So where is it that you're going?
Ka-chow. I'll be on the White Mountains.
Yeah, that's what I figured. We're gonna do that in October. We're gonna get like an Airbnb hopefully for a few days in October during like the fall
Oh
and
yeah,
go up there in the White Mountains.
I got a big bougie tent that's just for Brad and I, and
Nice.
there's 8 of us going up, and
Who's going up? What the fuck?
yeah, it's a boys trip. But the guys you would know is between there's me obviously, Hamill, Connor, Miz, Brad, Dicky, and
Misner's gonna
BP.
be there.
Yep, yep.
Interesting. Okay.
So and
I mean, that's most of
he's
them. That's most of the people going, I know.
yeah. There's only one that you don't know.
Yeah.
Kyle, my workout buddy.
Okay.
He's gonna be coming along as well.
That's what's up. That'd be fun. Yeah, I mean, you pull ups, push ups, lifting
I'm just
rocks
gonna
and shit.
find big rocks and do like close
Yeah.
press,
Big ass logs and just try to curl them or something.
bench press with the
Yeah,
logs.
yeah, exactly. Somebody drop a log on you and then bench press it. And then you could even like lay on a rock that's like more rounded and do like upper chest press.
But yeah,
um,
so more or less the point being is that my workout regimen requires me to work out every day besides Sundays.
yeah,
Excuse me. And Friday, Saturday, I'll be up in the mountains. So when I travel, or in general, when I travel or I'm not available to hit the gym, you still got to hit some workouts. You still got to keep the body, intensely activated somehow. So, just kind of what we're going to be exploring today are alternatives for if you don't have access to a gym, because a lot of it too is not even like if you don't have access to it, but some people just aren't, confident enough to go into a gym yet, or even not confident enough to go into a gym, but confident enough to go into a big gym. Like, I know you saw my mentality before I joined Empire. Like, it took me months before I ever joined Empire from the first time I said it to you.
Hmm.
And so that, you have to build it up. And so these external workouts that we're going to talk about today, these kind of like extra things that you can be doing on the side, or if you can't get to a gym, just doing them, period. That's kind of where it stems from. So up in the mountains, if you're in the White Mountains this weekend and you see some tall blonde-haired dude deadlifting a tree stump, then that's me.
It's like some like lost tape shit. They're like, "What is that?" And then you just like snap your head to the side and look straight at them.
It's
You're
the
like,
Bigfoot videos.
"Protein!" You like run at them to kill them.
Proteina.
I heard there is over 1,000 grams of protein in a human. You're mine.
But the
But
thing is, that's too much cardio to run, so I will incline walk towards them.
yeah, you just, where's my handles? I don't got my handles going up this mountain. What the hell?
I can't lean on the mountain.
Where's the heart rate monitor? I want to keep in a targeted zone.
This
But
incline is too steep.
it's definitely more than 15 degrees. That's what I'm used to. So what are you gonna do about your food?
So there's 8 of us going, and we have obviously a group chat to like iron out details and whatnot. And there's a total of, including the small one, 4 coolers going, and one of them is a 50-quart fucking one that is just mine, and it has all my meal prep that
Wow.
I already have. So I'm just doing meal prep. But there is, I bought a little burner grill, little stove, like little portable stovetop one, and I'll be cooking some other stuff, deviating a little bit from plan, but still crushing it caloric wise. But yeah, for me, I'm going meal prepped, and it can be frustrating going to things and just having a very set meal. Like,
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I could go and have hot dogs and burgers with the guys and enjoy myself, but at the end of the day, my body reacts a certain way, and it's been reacting a certain way to help get the weight gain that I want. And so
Yeah.
I just have to stick to it and be disciplined, which loops back to our earlier conversation about wanting it. And for bodybuilding, you have to want it, and this for me is the discipline side of things.
I feel like given. Sorry, I just want to turn on a white screen to actually fucking see me. It's getting dark out now. So I feel like with your given program right now, I almost probably wouldn't have even like really packed up food. I probably would have just tried to stay relatively clean. And like not like super, super junky. And just basically called it. A lot of like that's how it is for a lot of guys is off season. Like you talk to, especially on the higher end, like a lot of their off season is like really junky. Um, Granted, I'm also talking like from a competitive standpoint. And they got, anabolics on top of that and the training and whatnot. But it's a lot junkier than you think it is for a lot of guys. For me, it can't be. I have to be pretty clean just because of how my metabolism works. But a lot of guys stay very junky with it and have pancakes and fucking like protein pancakes and like processed meats and shit like that. And like Chick-fil-A sauce and all these different sauces that have high calories, stuff like that. So I think if it was me, I personally would have like gone healthy, but like not worried too much about the plan. You know what I mean? Because
Well,
you also
the
want to
way
enjoy your
that
time.
I know, but the way also that I see it, with the changes that I made going into this week, I eclipsed the 5,000 mark, so I'm at 5,200 calories right now per day. And
Mm-hmm.
so to do 5,200 calories in hot dogs and burgers is a ton. Like, it is not a little bit of food, it is a ton.
Uh-huh.
And so even still, and I had already prepped out because I meal prep everything on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said, whatever, we'll commit to it, and I don't really want to deviate because I'm also seeing the changes that I want to see, and I'd rather not stop that mid push because I'm seeing considerable physical changes, weight changes I'm seeing. So
Hmm.
it's gonna suck to do it, but just gotta grind with it, you know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. Like for here's another instance to reinforce what I'm talking about. So like during the holidays, I follow multiple guys on Instagram that I know are coaches, and I'll see them post on their stories, be like, "Oh, happy Thanksgiving, everybody! All my clients." Like they'll kind of post their story. Like I know a few coaches that do this. They'll probably message most of them, but also post their story in the case that they missed a message but saw the story. They say, "All my clients, if you're in the off season right now, um, enjoy your day. Eat whatever you want. Enjoy your day. We'll pick back up on plan tomorrow after the holiday." And then like Christmas would be like, "Oh, enjoy your Christmas Eve, your Christmas Day, eat whatever you want, drink whatever it is, enjoy your time with your family." Like it really, at the end of the day, like when you're putting in years of effort, a day here and there or a couple of days here and there really isn't gonna make or break your process. Like for like C-Bum, he goes a year, not a year, a month completely off everything, basically eats whatever he wants and travels and
Yeah,
vacations. Like that's what he does for like a month every year. Granted, he's also like a genetic outlier, but still it's like even like that, to the degree that he does it supposedly, it doesn't it's not detrimental to his overall arching program. So like that's why I say like a couple days like this um, is probably like really wouldn't affect anything in the grand scheme of things. And then even like when you go to start with your coach, I would honestly say like before you're like officially picking up with them. So like let's say like you're starting, I don't know, August 15th with him or something, right? The last 3 days, probably like prior to that, let's say it's a Saturday or like a Sunday or something, the 3 or 4 days prior to that, like don't train and just eat whatever you want. Like within reason, don't just stuff your face full of pizza, but like enjoy it, because once you're on plan like that and you now represent somebody else on top of you, it's there's a whole nother layer of, I mean, you experienced it, but there's a whole nother layer of accountability. So I think that if you did a few days of just focusing on your mental health on top of like knowing that you're starting that plan soon, I think that would help as well.
I
Because
mean, there was a
especially
period of time where I wasn't even posting pictures because I
mhm,
represented a coach, and
exactly.
I mean, I mean, my physique is always like lean right now, and like I could post pictures if I want to, but I just chose not to during that time because it
Yeah.
wasn't just me anymore.
I think so. The way I see it in that aspect, we'll loop it back to the conversation overall, but the way I see it in that aspect is that if I want it to represent my coach, I'll tag him in it so that he can share it if he wants to share it. But if it's something that I want to post, at least for me, or I don't think he necessarily it deserves to be on his social media or something like that, then I won't tag him and I'll just post it myself. Sometimes I'll I'll post like a story or something that's like a kind of like a progress. Like this is me a couple years ago. This is me now. I won't tag him. I'm just showing what my like. I'll just be like, oh, this is like what the difference has been. You know, something like that, because it does get stressful sometimes when you are representing somebody else, um, and being on like, and he also, when you do have a coach, he doesn't know exactly what you ate, where right now when you're doing your own shit, you know exactly what you ate and you can adjust accordingly, where even if you told him, oh, I had all of this, like I wrote everything down, he still doesn't know the exact calorie content or like what your day-to-day life was like during that. So
Yeah,
like if you had a coach right now and you kind of like did whatever you wanted on this trip, he doesn't know how active you guys were while you were camping. He doesn't know how you were cooking it, what sauces, seasonings were really adding up to the overarching total. So it's easier now to kind of come back from a potential slip up or something like that than it is when you have a coach. Because honesty is also very hard. It's very hard to be honest with your coach. But really, all your typically coaches care about is just honesty. You're
yeah,
honest with them, they'll be honest with you. Um, but yeah, that's just from my perspective, and all those listening, take that with a grain of salt. Do with it what you will. That's just the way I look at it. So I think if you did say, oh, I'm not really focusing on anything these next couple days, I totally understand and be like, dude, enjoy it. Like, especially coming from prep, like I can't tell you enough how much you realize just good tasting food you mentally need. Like, it's people talk about like, oh, I eat for fuel and I don't care about the taste, and it's like, dude, that shit's fucking just gonna burn you out. Like, that shit
Yep.
will burn you out, and it is deteriorating to your mindset. Like, right now, I don't enjoy pretty much any of my food. Like, the only thing I enjoy right now is my cream of rice, because it's coconut cream pie from Pride Foods, so it's rice and grinds. Tastes phenomenal. Besides that, I don't enjoy any of my food, and it fucking hurts. Like, it sucks. Especially the fish. I'm so tired of fish. I have 3 meals of 1 meal of salmon and 2 meals of tilapia. I'm fucking tired of fish already, and I've only been on that for like a couple weeks. I'm still eating it. I'm still making it happen, but I'm like dousing my fucking tilapia in mustard just to get it
Yeah.
down. So I know that you have a lot more food in place, and it's different for you because you're also bulking and putting on weight, so you can have sauces and shit like that taste good. But also eating stuff off plan will be good for you mentally as well. So keep that in mind too.
Well, it's like my on Saturdays I take my one Five Guys trip after training every single week,
Yeah.
and like that, you're right. It's not just for. I mean, it's Saturdays I intake more calories than any other day because that one trip to Five Guys is like almost half of my caloric intake in one meal
Yeah.
because it's
It's
loaded.
so
But
bad.
what it does is, you're right, it has that mental effect because enjoying, a burger from there, and especially the shake from there, like
Hmm.
that right there, I look forward to that. So I almost train harder on Saturdays because I know I get it afterwards. So,
Yeah, exactly. That's like when I especially after this show, we're definitely going to be in such a good place with the rebound. Like, that's one thing my coach is very good at is rebounds with his clients. So we're gonna have a really good rebound. I know it. So if I end up coming up there after my show, my rebound's gonna be very important. So we focused on that. But after that rebound, we should be in a place to be able to have a refeed once a week, kind of like what you're doing once every Saturday or whatever it is, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is, getting a refeed, whether that's a burger and fries, sushi, whatever it is. And like that, just that one meal will keep me going every week and being like, just got to make it to Saturday, just got to make it to Saturday, just got to make it to Saturday.
yeah.
But like right now, there is none of that. Granted, tomorrow he said, let's stick to the plan. After my stomach bug that I had last weekend, he said, let's stick to the plan. Friday, we'll have a refeed, as long as you stick to the plan for the next 3 days, which, I mean, I did, besides Powerade, like Powerade Zero. But besides that, I stuck to the plan. So we'll get a refeed tomorrow, whatever it is. It's probably just going to end up being more carbs with each meal. But like that keeps you going. Like, that's
You
keeping me
get a
going.
single slice of bread with it.
No, like dude. Like, I can't fucking like. That's exactly what it is. Like he'll be like, "Here's your refeed. I have one more slice of bread with breakfast. I have some sweet potato with my chicken. I'll have more cream of rice, more rice post workout, and then like another slice of bread for my last meal." Like, that's what it would be. Like, legitimately. My last refeed before my last show, it was like 2 more ounces of rice. Instead of 2 rice cakes, we did cream of rice instead, and I think I had another slice of bread. That was it. Like, but like that made me feel amazing because I was so dialed in, and you're so dialed in on prep that the added carbs really does like really take you to the next level in how you're feeling and how you're performing. So like it does play a role, but like, dude, I'm praying to God he's like, go get a burger and fries tomorrow. I'm fucking praying. Like, I'm like, please God, if there's anything you will give me after what I've been through the past week, just give me burger and fries. That's all I want.
The they were around when we were a kid, but they were the candy Krabby Patties, the tiny
Yeah,
ones. He's
yeah.
gonna he's gonna say you can have a burger, but it has to match this requirement.
It's gonna be this size. It's gonna be this size burger. It's one bite.
It's like that video of the dude who goes to the restaurant and gets the perfect steak, and it's $100 steak. They serve it on the big smoke thing. He
Yeah.
takes out the smoke thing. It's this tiny little
It's like
fucking
one
thing.
ounce of steak. It's like one actual bite. Yeah, no, that'd be. I mean, when he says burger and fries, he means Five Guys, basically. Like that's
Yep.
what all bodybuilders end up doing is Five Guys, especially for their fries. Like the fries is really what makes us go there. The burger's good, don't get me wrong, but the fries is really like what
Except
fucking
when you
Five
get
Guys is good.
screwed over. Except when you get screwed over and it's soggy fries. That's no
Dude, I
good.
don't give a shit. I don't crispy, soggy. If it's fucking carbs, I don't care. As long as it's carbs, that's all I care about.
That's why
That's
I
where I'm
continue
at.
to text. That's why I continue to text you about my Five Guys refeeds.
I fucking hate it every time. I'm like gagging on salmon from a can, and you're like, look at my Five Guys. I'm like, dude, I'm literally eating the bones out of the salmon. Like, it's crunchy. My salmon is crunchy, and you're sending me Five Guys, you dick. It's fucking
ooh,
torture.
ooh, got extra pickles this time.
Yeah, you're like, they put extra fries in the bag. What do I do with them? He's like, throw them out. Like, you fucking piece of shit.
No, I'll never do that. What's
But
served
if
to
you
me is
did,
what's eaten.
yeah. No, I love Five Guys for that. That they just overload the fries. But
Hey, Paul, I got the peanuts, and I ate the whole thing, the shell too. Haha.
oh, dude, I love roasted peanuts. Oh, like regular ass peanuts. You know something that they do down here is boiled peanuts. You ever had boiled peanuts?
No,
Oh, it's fucking awful. It's just peanuts thrown in water that's boiling.
that's
Basically it.
so
It's
weird.
it's easier to peel the shell and then like I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's water, oil, or whatever they put it in, but it's just like it's got this other flavor to it, and I'm not a fan of it. They just ruined the peanuts to me. But yeah, so to add to what we were talking about earlier, when I went to Florida, the way that I did it was this is something that I came up with personally. So I knew we were staying in an Airbnb when we went down to Florida. So my in-laws were driving down. So what I did, I packed up my lunchbox. I have like this big, like kind of like almost like a gym bag sized lunchbox. Put like my favorite seasonings in there, and then all my food. And the way that I do it personally is, um, I pack up my meals. So like I measure them out and then I put them in Ziploc bags, and that saves tons of space when you're packing them up to go somewhere. Like when you're going to camping, that would save
Yep.
tons of space in your cooler. And on top of that, there's also like more surface area for ice to touch versus like in a container that's flat. Because then really, especially if you have like meat or something like that, it's probably not touching the lid. It's just touching the bottom of the actual Tupperware. So only the bottom ice is really affecting it. Where the ice in a Ziploc bag is like all the way around it, it'll get touched by ice. So that it helps keep it cooler for longer as well, and saves tons of space. And then if I'm going to somewhere where like I won't have like utensils or like plates and stuff like Florida, there's already plates there, there's utensils, whatever in the Airbnb. I will bring like a fork, a spoon, a knife, and like a Tupperware container, just like one, and put that in there, and then use that as like my plate or bowl that I dump my Ziploc bag of food into. And that's how I do it that way. That way I save tons of space. I have something to eat out of, and then I can just wash it with water afterwards and just get the food out, the scraps or whatever, the leftover stuff, and it's clean for the next meal. So that's one of my like logistically, that's one of my suggestions for traveling or going somewhere with food, and that's just something I've gotten dialed in from having brought food everywhere tons and tons of times. So something to consider.
But with plastic bags, though, like let's say you're going to town with a fork, you ever poke through the bag by accident?
No, because usually I put the fork in a different pocket just in case.
No, I mean like when you're eating.
No, because I dump it into a Tupperware
Oh,
container.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So I dump it in the
Just
Tupperware
sitting there
container
with
to have.
sitting there with the bag.
I mean, I've done that. Like, I'll have like if I have like a Ziploc bag of just sweet potato and I have a spoon, I'll just eat it right out of the Ziploc bag because it's not going to rip. I have a spoon, and then I could like kind of scrape it from the edge of the Ziploc bag by holding it a certain way. But like normally with like meat or rice or whatever it is, where I would use a fork, then I'd put it in the Tupperware container and eat it that way. So that's how I do it. It's just the way I've done it in the past. And then when I want to add seasoning to stuff, I'll add it to the Ziploc bag first, like mix it up, like roll it between my hands, and then like shake it up and all that, and then put it in the Tupperware container. That way it's all set. So like I've got the shit fucking dialed in. And then when you throw out the Ziploc bag, you just like push all the air out, zip it up, and just throw it in your lunchbox. And then later on, you just throw them all out.
Yep.
I've gotten the shit dialed in.
And now we touched the subject of if we can't bring our coolers, we can't bring our Ziploc bags, we can't bring our containers. How do you stick to diet best you can while you're traveling?
That's that's it
It
depends on.
obviously, I was gonna say it's obviously dependent on where you go and how you go, because
Yeah.
obviously if you fly, modern airports actually have fairly decent options nowadays.
Hmm.
So flying at the very least, you can kind of figure it out, but obviously driving, you have to figure out stops. But me personally, like looking for anything that I've found really good success with Mexican places,
Hmm.
Brazilian places, basically anything that uses a rice base. I've found really good success when I travel with. Obviously, those are tough to find because it's not like those are commercial chains. It's not like a Cumberland Farms or something like that. So you got to
Yeah.
kind of pick and choose. But finding it's tough. You have to look at the menu and figure out exactly, like, let's say you have no other option and you have to go into like, I don't know, like a Burger King or something. Not that I would ever do that, but you have to go and you just got to look at the menu, kind of decide what will stick best to what your goal is, which
Yeah.
is tough at a fast food place.
See, here's my thing. It's really actually not too hard to stick to a plan when you go to a fast food place, and here's why. Most fast food places will have some sort of chicken breast option. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, fucking Chick-fil-A, all of them have chicken breast, and they almost always grill it as well. They don't fry chicken breast. They grill it. So that's a really good option everywhere you're going. McDonald's chicken breast is actually really good chicken breast. It's surprisingly good. Burger King, like all those are the same instance. So you could just get just straight chicken breast. You could just like get like a chicken sandwich and just take everything off it, but the chicken breast, and just be like, or like if you're at the counter, to be like, honestly, I just want straight chicken breast. Can I have like two things of chicken breast? And they'll charge you usually less too, like a few bucks per like actual thing of chicken breast. And then also the salads are an option too. But be careful with that because of the dressings. The actual contents of the salad isn't really that big of a deal.
Yep.
It's more the dressings. So, for instance, you go to like Chick-fil-A's salads, right? They have like they're all different kinds of salads. But for instance, if you get one like that comes with their creamy salsa, you're like, oh, okay, that's probably not that bad. Maybe like a little mayonnaise or whatever it is that's like makes it creamy, whatever. It's 300 calories for one packet of that salsa. Like it's the salt, the actual like dressing is what ruins the salad. But if you don't put that on there, then you're good.
I was gonna say I chaperoned a trip through the school that I teach at to Six Flags, and they give you like vouchers for all the kids, and they all went and
Yeah.
they ate whatever. And I went to, they have their they have a burger pizza line and then the healthy line, which always has like no
Are we
line
talking
because
about the big
nobody's,
like cafeteria one
yeah.
towards the front?
And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
You're just
yeah.
talking about.
And so I go up there and I go and I get the the chicken Caesar salad wrap, and it
Mm-hmm.
had two. You know how they always give you a range of calories.
Yeah,
The first one was 900 calories. And I was like, okay, it's the chicken, the croutons, probably the cheese that's used with the salad, and probably the breading for the wrap and everything.
yeah,
And then the upper range was 1900 calories.
yeah. And probably what's fucked up is that you're not even talking about like. Honestly, what I would have thought was that's not the dressing or without it. That's just two different sizes of salads. Like the 900 I would have
No,
seen as
that
a side salad with the dressing.
no, because they serve just one thing. They don't serve two separate ones there.
I wonder why it's 900 calories without the
It's
dressing.
Well, it's not just without the dressing. I'm guessing that's like if you said, "Give me the lettuce," because they go through the whole platform. They ask you what toppings you want, but regardless, the
Okay.
point being, like they have salad, quote unquote, which even 900 calories is a fucking ton for salad. But
Yeah,
then
that is
they have
ridiculous.
their super size me option for
Yeah.
1900 calories.
I mean, which at that point you just shouldn't even really have it. You might as well just go get whatever else you want. I mean, like that's so bad for you already,
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, those are options. Like the Southwest salad from McDonald's is arguably worse than like all of their other foods because it's just so dense with the seasoning or the dressing, I mean. So you got to be careful of that. But if you don't have the dressing, it ends up being fine. What I will attest to is that when it comes to bodybuilders, the go-to is like a Chipotle,
Mm,
Qdoba, Moe's, stuff like that are
yep.
almost always the go-to because you got your rice, you got your chicken, you got your steak, you got your veggies. You even
And
can have like a whole salad too.
it's also all their meats are cooked on on a
Grill.
stovetop grill top,
Yep.
and you don't have to ever worry about like, you know, obviously it's tough to clean it throughout the day. I mean, I've
Yeah.
worked on a grill before, so I understand what it's like, but it's still a lot cleaner of an option than if you were to go to like and get like a steak, like
Yeah.
or like steak tips or steak topping within a salad from like McDanks or something like that.
Yeah, and the other problem too is you gotta look out for oils. Like, oils will really add a lot of calories. So, like, that's why you gotta eat this shit in moderation, and only do it if you absolutely have to. But, like, Chipotle, Qdoba, Moe's are all good options. And the seasoning usually isn't too bad as far as calories go. But again, like I said, it just depends on the oil that the actual cook uses to cook it up. I'm trying to think of, like, Panera is another good option too. Paneras are fucking everywhere. There are healthy options at sub places, but you also have to be very careful because they use so much oil whenever they make the subs. So like if you're like, okay, I really want like a sandwich or something, I think that'd be good. I just want some deli meat, whatever it is. What you do is you go to like whatever sub place it is, tell them you don't want any oil. They won't spread it on there. And then you could also, after you get your sandwich, ideally put healthy stuff on there. You could also like kind of tear out the bulk of the bread, and then just kind of eat like the crust and like a little bit of the bread that kind of holds it all together. That
Yeah.
way you're not eating so many carbs at once because the bread is very dense carbs. There's also like whole wheat options. You can even get, a lot of these have like veggie tortilla options now too, and flatbreads and shit like that are a bit healthier than like the fucking like 8 cheese and herbs or whatever from like Subway. You know what I mean? So it's like there's that option as well. I know C-Bum's like cheat meal every week is 4 6-inch subs from Subway, and like if you look up the calories, it's like 3,000 calories in that one meal. Like, there's so many calories in subs, it's fucking ludicrous.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are options too.
Yeah, and really just at the end of the day is making smart decisions because it's very, very easy to fall into the, not smart decision or, I
Yeah,
mean, Paul, you have your wife. I often travel with my family. Like, it's very easy to go where they go. Like, for
yeah,
example, expediency. Like, if I'm doing a road trip with my family and we're going up to, our place in Michigan or something like that, there's Arby's all along the way. And Arby's is super easy for, everybody to stop in because it's quick and yeah, there's a lot of meats and whatnot, but the amount of grease and oil used to cook with those things, and it's also
deli meat too.
chef microwave is really running things there. It's not
Yeah,
really so there's you really have to be careful. Like, sure, there are like options for if you were to hit an Arby's. I'm not saying that Arby's is the worst, but I'm saying like it's very tough to be smart about it when you travel, excuse me, with others. When you're traveling by yourself, there's only one person
yeah,
there to be accountable for. There's no one
right.
else you have to listen to, no one else you have to answer to, no one else you're providing for. But you travel with family or, your girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever, and you have to make a decision for her as well. That adds a whole nother layer to it because it's also very, very awkward when you're traveling to be like, hey, babe, go have something nice at this place. I'm going to go to this other spot because this is the only thing I can eat.
I mean, when we were going out to places in Florida, I'd legit, like I said, my coach it. I legit got lettuce and got a side of pico de gallo and put that on my lettuce, and that's what I ate. I just pico de gallo and lettuce. That's all I ate.
Yep.
There are options, and like a lot of places will have salmon. Salmon's a good option. Steak is also a good option. And the other thing too with steak is if you're especially trying to stay low calorie, the cheaper the steak at the restaurant, the probably less fat there is in it. And it's going to be tougher to eat. It's going to be more chewy, but it's going to have a lot less fat and be more lean. So go cheaper with the steak when you go out. Then salmon is usually a good option. Fresh fish, like fresh water fish, I mean, is a good option as well. Most restaurants will have some sort of garden salad or something like that, and just get that with no dressing on it. Especially if you put like you can even do like if I had like croutons, you could like crumble them up with your hands if you're at a restaurant and use the croutons as like the seasoning. You know what I mean? Like the
Yep.
croutons are like maybe 100 calories or something like that for the added croutons. Croutons are pretty dense in calories, but if there is that on there, you can crush it up and use it as seasoning. Or like excuse me, you can do like a barbecue, like a light barbecue sauce, like some like down here there's a lot of barbecue and places will either have like their sweet barbecue or like their vinegar based barbecue. So you can do like the vinegar based one that's lower calorie, and put that on like a salad, for instance. So like that's an option too. Or like steamed vegetables. That's another option is steamed vegetables. Everywhere we went, I looked to see if they had steamed vegetables to see if that was an option. And then when you order too, if you're at a restaurant where you order at a table, ask them to not put oils on it. Just be like, I hate to be picky, like show some sympathy because
Yeah.
they're being particular with
And
your meal.
and always tip well.
Yeah, exactly. I always give a minimum 20% for them dealing with me. Minimum. So when you be like, okay, is it cool if we just don't put any oil on it or go really light with the oil when you're out? Just be like, I'm just really trying to stay low calorie right now. And I hate to be picky, but if we could do that, that'd be amazing. And usually they won't have a problem with it. They'd be like, yeah, that's fine. You know, there's a place I went when I was down in Florida. They had chicken breast wraps, and I just got chicken breast and lettuce, and I was like, "Can we cook it without oils?" And he's like, "Oh, we use a 0 calorie oil." He's like, I was like, "Is it like a spray, like canola oil or something?" He's like, "No, it's like a 0 calorie like drizzle oil that doesn't have anything in it. That's why we use it because it doesn't add tons of calories for like no reason." I'm like, "Cool, that works. I mean, if it's 0
Yeah.
calorie, I'm cool." So, stuff like that is an option too. So that's something to consider. Is ordering it that way.
Yeah. But ultimately, you just have to be, mindful, and that's really the biggest thing here. Like, staying mindful is tough. It really is, and you're pounding the hell out of that thing. I don't know what that is, but
I fucking hate it, dude. It's a fiber supplement. It's from Species Nutrition. Fiber lies from
yep.
Species. And the flavor is fruit punch. But like, let's see if you can see the color. Let's see if you
Is
can
it
you see
green? Oh, yeah, it's like tan.
yeah. When you see that color, when I opened it, I was like, oh fuck. You just know it's not gonna taste good. And it's fucking it. The fruit punch flavor, I like. They kind of nailed the flavor, but the problem is it's the consistency. I have to like shake it. I like usually wait like 30 seconds to a minute and then I drink it because if I wait too long, it's literally like drinking like applesauce. It gets so
Yeah.
thick. So like just now is on the thicker side, so like I want to fucking throw up. But normally I like mix it. Oh god, it's fucking normally I mix it and then right when I mix it I'll drink it because it's still getting in my system. But yeah, it's fucking nasty, so I just have to pound it to be done with it.
But that actually brings up a good point though for the next part is that supplements, and that's not
Yeah.
something you can really dance around when it comes to bodybuilding. You have your supplements, you got to take your supplements, and there's no real alternatives to it. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, when we came down to South Carolina, I was taking more than I am now, but you saw the supplement cabinet that I brought. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I brought an arsenal of stuff, and you just can't substitute that stuff. You really can't, unless your diet is so locked in that you don't even need like additional supplements. But that's a long shot.
Yeah, it's the micronutrient stuff, like the vitamins, stuff like that. My problem is like really it's not that like I really don't need to take that many vitamins and stuff. And a lot of it comes down to money. A lot of my issue comes down to money. But like probiotics, digestive enzymes are also good. But like my problem is just trying to just taking them, remembering to take them is also a problem for me. Like I forget. But also the other thing too to consider too is that when you introduce something like anabolics too, we're talking a whole nother, like you miss a day, you're fucking your system up. So like
Yeah.
that's a whole nother layer of like issues you're adding to like your entire day. You have to make sure you take it. So I have like reminders set up to take stuff, but I just ordered some more multivitamins recently because of the Prime sale. But yeah, no, supplements are something that you got to take, and that is also a good option or alternative to meals as well. You know that very well. Meal replacements, protein shakes, stuff like that
Mm.
are good options to bring with you if you're traveling. Something that, like, really at the end of the day, the best things to grab for food when you're traveling is anything that's non-perishable, anything that doesn't need to go into a fridge are good options. So like protein powder, and all you need is just water in a cup to mix it. And then protein bars, pre-made protein shakes, stuff like that are all good options. Rice cakes. You talk to any bodybuilder, you go to a show. Like when I went to my show, every bodybuilder had rice cakes because there's no fridges, nothing like that, and it's the perfect fast digesting carb. So like stuff like that are also good options to bring with you.
And
Um,
plus, the rice cakes you can get in actually pretty decent flavors that don't have that much of added sugars. Like I always
yeah,
get the white cheddar one.
the white cheddar one's good. Chocolate is probably my favorite. The caramel one's also not bad. The only problem I have with the caramel one is it's super sticky, so it makes my fingers sticky, and then like it just like it's like sits like a rock. I feel like sometimes because of how sticky it is.
Yeah,
Is that Brad over there?
Dickie just came by.
Oh, okay. Um, but yeah, so that's another option too. Is uh the non-perishable supplementation that you can take too. Those
Yeah.
are all good stuff right there. And you got there's even meal replacement options. So there's something that a lot of people don't talk about is what's called Huel, Huel. The original idea, I don't know where they're at now as a business, like as far as like their like actual focus, as how they're marketing themselves. The original idea when I first took it was literally like right when they started selling in the US because they're a UK based company. So the idea behind Huel originally was like it's the true actual meal replacement. Like they designed it to specifically be a powder you can live off of for the rest of your life. Like they wanted to design it so that like governments can start getting it and like setting it to like third world countries who have like starvation and
Yeah.
hunger issues because that's all they need. Like all your nutrients are in there, your micronutrients even. There's tons of vitamins and the consistency was fucking awful. It was like drinking shredded wheat, but they have options for like going like on the go. Like they have ready to drink shit too, on the go essential, ready to drink. They got hot and savory instant meals, so like you can even buy like meals that you put into a bowl and microwave, and like that's your meal's done. So it's like they have like Cajun pasta, chicken and mushroom pasta, Mexican chili, tomato and herb. And sweet basil. So it's like vegetables with some tomatoes. Like there's so much shit that you can get from them now. And you get a
I was
bag
gonna
and it's 7 meals.
I was gonna say those things like a all-in-one supplement to drink, and you look at the packaging, it's like this will taste like shit.
Like literally, like they almost have to like warn you, like, dude, this is gonna suck. Um, yeah, if you look at, let me see if I can find the nutrition label.
and and then of course you get their CEO and he goes, "Wow, this tastes good."
This is amazing. Um,
I saw what was it? See, I watched one of C-Bum's videos where he was in prep and he combined his oats with like one of his powders and he mixed it up
yeah.
and he took a bite and like you could just see him pause for like 3 seconds and
hmm
then he goes, "Wow, that's actually pretty good," and I'm like, "You're lying, you son of a bitch."
When you're in prep, though, fucking everything is good.
That's
Like,
true.
like
He
you're
was
not.
talking. He was like, "I'm gonna eat the shit out of this no sugar ketchup."
Dude, for real though, like adding G Hughes ketchup to fucking everything just changes the flavor like drastically. I look forward to my like plain chicken every day because I love chicken now because I'd never have it. But like the only thing like I don't even like mustard, but dousing my food in mustard just like makes it so much better. And then like even salt, when you add salt to a meal at that level, like when you're just dialed the fuck in and you're even when you're like when you're tracking your salt, when you have your meals that have salt in them, they taste so much better. The electrolytes just taste so good to get in your system. So like that plays a big role too. Black coffee, fucking phenomenal.
Mm.
So I mean,
I'm
it's
looking
there's
forward to that. I did a coffee not binge. I cold turkey coffee from everything, just because my caffeine dependence was terrible and like nothing was affecting me. And
Yeah.
this upcoming camping trip, I have a French press ready. I'm gonna do coffee every morning. I'm
Nice.
looking forward to it. Like that's one of the small victories I'm taking this weekend.
Yeah. That's what's up. That'd be enjoyable. Do you have like a what's it called? One of those like ones where you put the water in the bottom and then you like put it on a burner and the coffee's in
Well,
the
so
top or whatever it
well,
is.
so I'm so I'm just gonna boil water. I have a mess kit for when I go
Okay.
camping, and I boil water in the little kettle, and then I pour that into the French press. So the French press, you put the
Oh,
ground in the
okay, French
bottom,
press. Yeah.
you pour water in, and then you press down, and then the actual coffee that you can drink rises to the top.
Yeah. Yeah, French presses are cool. You could also do like a pour over too. Not that that would be. I think the French press is easier with what you're doing, but if you don't have a French press, you could also do like a pour over. If you had
Yeah,
some sort of like cup or something that could take the heat from the boiling water, and you could just put a coffee filter over it and some coffee in that. Do it that way.
yeah.
But yeah, black coffee or like flavor. I buy flavored coffee usually from like TJ Maxx and shit. They actually have really good coffee selection a lot of the time for flavored coffees, that is. And it fucking tastes amazing. I love my coffee every day. And then when I get, I have one more week of artificial flavors and sweeteners. But when you get to have artificial flavors and sweeteners, mwah, oh, like gum, fucking low caffeine energy drinks, like, oh, phenomenal. Powerade,
Yep.
oh, dude, this whole week I've been having a Powerade or a Gatorade, mainly Powerade, after lifting because of my stomach bug that I had. And holy shit, each one tastes like actual heaven. But what's funny is I got a this is Saturday. I got approved to have a Gatorade Zero because my electrolytes are low, and it ended up being something that I like look forward to every day. So I was like, I'll just buy more of them and only have like one. And really just comes down to sodium. So like once we actually start tracking my sodium, it's not that big of a deal. I'll just cut them out. But we got it because of my electrolyte imbalance. And like I tried it and I'm like, fuck, this is way too good. I'm like, this just doesn't deserve to be this good. So I looked at the label. I'm like, I bought a fucking regular Gatorade. I was like, no wonder why it's so good. It's got tons of
Hmm.
sugar in it. I'm like, son of a bitch. So then I had to get a regular Gatorade Zero. It was on the same shelf. I don't know how I messed that up. And
I mean, that's like your story from a couple months ago about your diet Coke and and your wife's regular Coke.
yeah, exactly. Like when I had a regular Coke, I was like, fuck, this is way too good. What's wrong with this?
Sitting there as if you just took like the craziest psychedelic, and you're like, wait, this isn't right.
Yeah, no, that's literally how like I felt so good. Like the dopamine that hit me was like, oh fuck. And then I was like, wait, this doesn't feel right. After a few sips, I'm like, this ain't right. And then I look, it was a regular ass Coke. I'm like, fuck. But at the time, we weren't in prep, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. Same with the Gatorade. I
Yeah.
told my coach, I was like, this is kind of funny. It was one sip, like it literally took like one sip, and I was like, this ain't right. And so it's not the biggest deal. It might have been like a gram or two of sugar or something, but yeah, it was funny that I experienced that. Which is also another good option for when you're traveling too, like Gatorades, anything with dextrose in it. That'll keep you going, keep you relatively full, are good options as well. So you can have those and get them from like nice and cold from a gas station or something like that. That'll be pretty good. Um, that would keep me going for sure. I look forward to my fucking Powerade every day. That's sit in my fridge.
I do enjoy it because I mean I texted you about it. I have a
Yeah,
Gatorade for my intra, and I actually look forward to that. Except
yeah,
on my leg day, because on my leg day, literally anything I drink or eat, like it wants to come up because of
yep,
how far I push my body on leg
yep,
day. So leg day I don't like it, but on like my days like one, two, 4 and 5, I
yeah.
actually love getting it in the middle of it, and I like push for it. Like sometimes I forget until the cardio at the very end, and then I just do it just for the caloric intake. But
Mhm.
getting it in the middle of the workout is like that mini little like reward, and then you keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for leg day, I'm the same way. I just have plain water, but typically I have BCAAs when I train,
Yeah.
which I know kind of goes against what I've said in the past. They kind of work, especially right now. I need more protein synthesis because of pushing my body through prep. But yeah, it helps me right now. But like leg day today. I ate and got to the gym probably just under an hour and a half after I ate, which is usually what I aim for, about an hour and a half to start lifting. And I was almost throwing up doing straight leg deadlifts. I got home. I'm talking to my wife, and I fucking feel it come up for a second, and I catch it. I like catch it in my throat. I'm like, nope. I had to sit there for a second and like let it go back down. Like it's the weirdest thing. I hate it, but yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. Like the littlest thing will throw off my entire stomach. I can even have pre-workout because I get such a pump in my quads, I'll throw up. So I can even I
Yeah,
just have like a just a little bit of caffeine. That's all that goes into my leg day.
that's what's turned into for me too. Like I normally have a stim and a non-stim pre-workout, and I
Yeah,
normally take the stim for my leg day. But this was before I started doing this super intense stuff that I do now. And I tried it the other day, and it came up right away, and I was like, all right, it's just
yeah,
water from here on out. I just have to make sure I sleep well enough the night before and I'm not tired. Because like a lot of the reason why I take such like my stim pre workouts are like super stim pre workouts because
yeah,
during the school year especially I don't sleep a ton because just with how much I need to get done in the day, and so I need that. But I've told myself I'm like come leg time, like I either take a nap beforehand or I need to sleep well the night before because I just can't drink something.
yeah.
Like it doesn't react well with my body.
No, I'm glad I'm not alone there because it's I just get it. All the blood just rushes to my legs, and it
Yep.
just sucks all the digestion capabilities just out of my system. I could have like a Bang or like a Redcon one ready to drink like can like anything that's like carbonated I could have. Besides, even C4, like anything that's carbonated, I can have it. Not the C4 Ultimate, but like anything else, I'm fine. If it's got beta alanine in it, I'm fine. But I can't have like arginine or citrulline, um, or even like taurine. I got to be careful with taurine and betaine as well, because any of that will help with blood flow just will not fucking work.
The
It just
the taurine makes me think of the Rogan monster one. Monster's got taurine in it. Makes you piss like a bull. And then there's the fucking
Theo
what's
Vaughn.
his name? Theo Von. He's like, yeah, they make you want to beat your wife too.
Yeah, make you beat your wife too, huh? Yeah. Makes you want to kick a fat kid in Kmart. You know what I'm saying? Praise
Praise
God.
God, baby.
But yeah, no, I got to be careful of that. And like when we pull out artificial flavors and sweeteners and stuff like that, my pre-workout is literally just black coffee. That's all it is. Usually I'll make
Yeah.
like an iced black coffee and like brew it as iced. But that's my pre-workout. That's it. Even on back days, arm days, whatever. But what's crazy is that when you're that dialed in to where you're not even having all of that and your adrenal glands in a good place and your whole system's in a great place, you're just depleted. My pre-workout is literally just salt. Like if I don't have
Mm.
my salt, I have no fucking blood flow. But when I have my salt, I get a gnarly ass pump. Like I like probably I mean the best pump. Well, okay, the best pump I've ever had that I could still remember to this day was a back pump from like I think it was like April or something or May. Like it was actually like in a cut. I was in a cut, and it was after we put in Master on, and I took a non-stim pre-workout or something after not having any for a while and hit back day, and I legit like thought my back was gonna fucking rip my shirt. Like it was so pumped up. It was like I felt like I was like a turtle. My back was fucking rounded out. It was ridiculous. I had to keep stretching because it was so pumped up. But like arm days and stuff like that's pretty good when you're dialed in and you just have salt. It's just your body's so functioning to such a high degree that just a salt just changes your entire blood flow. Um, so yeah, that's good. It's good stuff, but that's gonna suck. 3 weeks. The last 3 weeks of prep is gonna suck because I can't put equal. I love equal. That's my favorite. The sweetener, and I put that in my coffee, and I can't have that 3 weeks in, 3 weeks out. Fucking, it's gonna
Black coffee,
suck.
man.
Yeah, just straight black coffee. When I say I have
That's
black
what I
coffee
do.
every day, I mean like with equal sweetener because I like my
My
coffee sweet. But
when I say black coffee, it's black.
yeah, it's
Like
just like
my going up to the mountains, I got specifically a blend of coffee like that someone else might enjoy when it's drank completely black, because I enjoy all coffee drank
yeah.
like just completely black. So I had to get something where, like, if someone else asks for coffee, they'll be like, "Oh, that's okay."
Yeah, I think my thing is that I need to drink black coffee for a few days off of Equal without Equal, and then I enjoy it again. But
Yeah.
Equal just takes it to such a good degree for me. Like I don't need cream, I don't need none of that. But like the Equal is just like, oh, it's so good. Like I could genuinely tell when I didn't stir my coffee properly. Like I'll take a sip, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, that is not sweet at all. And then I'll stir it, and I'm like, oh, there it is. Oh fuck. Like it's just next level. But I did buy this coffee that is fucking so coffee. I don't even know how to explain it. It's Joe's Organic or something. It's like a red, black, and white bag, and it's just dark roast coffee. And it is so like the caffeine isn't, but the flavor is so unbelievably strong. Of just straight coffee, like the most coffee flavored coffee beans I've ever got in my life. Like it's like they took coffee beans and they're like, all right, let's make it coffee flavored. Then they make it, they try it. No, I need more coffee in there. Like that's what it was like. They just kept adding coffee flavor. It's just I tried a sip and it just punches you in the face. It's the most coffee flavored coffee ever.
It's
Um,
like they took a coffee bean, extracted the DNA cloning, and was like, "What if we quadrupled it?"
yeah, literally, like let's just quadruple the flavor of the coffee bean itself. Don't add anything else to it. It's gnarly. It is gnarly. So if you ever see it, Joe's Organic. Um, you got to try it just because it's so fucking gnarly. But I just don't like it because of that. It's just way too much coffee flavor for me.
Yeah,
Like I like coffee. Like I can have straight like Starbucks or straight whatever blend of coffee if it's just regular coffee. But like that particular one was just is just so strong. Um, but that will also keep you filled up too. Black coffee will keep you full a lot of the time. I have that in the morning, and I'm usually good for a few hours after a couple mugs
hell yeah.
before I'm hungry for another meal. So if you're traveling, coffee will play a big role as well.
Mm.
Um, if you don't like coffee, grow up.
Hmm.
No, I'm just playing. My
That's
wife doesn't like
actually,
coffee.
now that I also think about it, I think that's also why I struggle to eat when I was teaching, especially earlier on with my coach, because I was drinking at that point, and this was how bad my caffeine dependence was. Before
Yeah,
noon, before noon, I would have a liter of coffee, and then
yeah,
I would be making more coffee throughout the day to keep myself up. And so naturally, you like your body's like, "Oh, we're good. We
yeah.
could just have coffee."
Yeah, no, I mean it does curb your hunger. That's why bodybuilders rely on it so much. Every morning we have black coffee. Every morning CBum has black coffee in prep. It's just part of prep is black coffee. Even if you don't like black coffee, it's going to taste amazing when you're in prep.
Yeah,
It's just how things go. It's just how it is. So it does curb your hunger. That's also partially why they have like I took my Adderall out because Adderall curbs my hunger so much. Um, that like I could go probably 6 hours without eating and not even realize it when I'm on my Adderall. I have to be like, okay, it's 11:30. I got to go eat. Like that's what I say. Not like when I'm off it. I'm like, when am I eating? I'm dying, and it's like 10 o'clock. I'm like,
you
I'm
get it.
ready to eat.
You get an alarm that says "Time to eat, you skinny bitch."
Yeah, I got like a minute counter on my. I have a gigantic minute counter on my second monitor. It's counting the minutes to when I get to eat. I'm just playing. That's not actually true, but that's how it feels. Like I'm literally watching the fucking minutes. Especially like not tonight because we're recording, but like when I'm just watching TV, I keep checking the clock to see when I get to eat again.
Yeah,
Uh, and granted, now that I have like T3 and T4 in my system, I have to time that shit. But yeah, it's pretty nuts. Clen does help though. Clen does kind of curb my hunger a little bit in the morning, which is good. My stomach doesn't hurt going through cardio, but which sucks. That sucks so bad. But besides that, coffee helps a lot. It does.
yeah. I'm right now. It's tough because in the summer I don't work because as a teacher we just get summers off. But
Yeah,
right at the end of my teaching days, when I wasn't working with my coach, like when it was my diet, I was so locked in for when I was eating. And I think I texted you like the exact time that I'm going to the bathroom because it was just so consistent every day.
yeah,
It was like, oh, 3:15, time to do it.
yeah, exactly. And like, that's the other thing too is that if like, okay, so when we were in prep, the day of the show, well, technically the night of the show, night before the show, my coach said, "Hey, have you had any bowel movements?" And I said, "I had a small one Thursday, which is 2 days prior to the show." But I said, "Really, the last actual one was Wednesday." And he said, "All right, in the morning, I want you to get up and just chug black coffee." and I chugged like probably like 16 to anywhere from 16 to 24. I'm not even sure how many ounces it was. I just know I made my normal 30 ounces that I make and then put ice in it and then drink like more than half of it.
Yeah.
So anywhere from 16 to 20 to 24 in that ballpark. I drink most of it. And then all of a sudden I fucking felt it hit. I was like, fuck yeah. So it's like when you're that dialed in, like even coffee will just like, will also speed up your digestion too. I mean, anybody who drinks coffee will know that. Like you usually have to poop after fucking one mug of coffee, but when you try and target it like that, it's hilarious that you're just like, just give me some coffee. And you have some coffee and you got to poop.
You're like, Reggie?
Ruh-roh. Yeah, so I got up at like fucking 5:15 the day of the show, sleeping in a sweatshirt and sweatpants. That's what I slept in, and socks, because try not to get tanning on my fucking bed.
Yeah.
Woke up at 5:15. Didn't even take the covers off me. I just stood up when my alarm went off. And then I went out, put my contacts in, went out, made my coffee, and took a shit, and then left. That was my entire morning, the day of the show.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was wild. And you just feel so gross with the tan on. It's like you're dirty. You're just like, ugh. And then they
I
oil
talked
you
with
up
my
and shit.
I talked to my mom the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna at some point buy throwaway sheets, just because I'm not gonna mess with my regular sheets on like it with one of those tans.
It's honestly like you're just so. I was so tired at that point. I fell asleep no problem with a sweatshirt and sweatpants only, like with no cover or anything. I just acted like I was in my bed normally, and I just passed the
Yeah,
fuck out. If we had an extra pair of sheets, we probably would have done that, but it also like worked out fine because I mostly sleep on my back at this point, but I used to be a stomach sleeper 100%, but now I'm more of a back sleeper. And I also I didn't want to get any tan on my pillow too, so I just put my hood on and just passed the fuck out and just stayed like that the entire night. I literally had like my hands crossed on my stomach like the entire night. I try not to touch anything because they also get your hands. They get the top of your hands.
yep.
So I was trying not to touch anything. So I just fucking crossed my hands and just passed the fuck out. Um, so that sucked too because I also went in pale, not super pale, but I was white going into the tan. So they had to do 2 layers. I was there for like 45 minutes to an hour, just waiting for the tan to dry. Where guys were in and out in like 10 minutes, especially if you have dark complexion. Like if you have like African descent, you're there for like a light ass tan and you're fucking out. Like that's it.
Yeah,
Like they're in and out in 5 minutes. So I saw like 20 groups of dudes go through. It's fucking bullshit.
and you're just standing there like, first time. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Standing in front of fans trying to dry off. And then I left and my whole head was white and the rest of me was orange. I was like, motherfucker, all that for nothing. But then it ended up calming down and then they did the bronzer the next day. So I ended up being pretty tan. But I know what I'm doing now going into this next show. I'm going to try to tan for a couple weeks prior to the show, not get burned. I'm really trying to avoid burning as much as
Yeah.
I possibly can. But then go into it as dark as I possibly can as far as tan goes. But it's a bitch.
Well, I was gonna say it's the perfect time to go out and just like read outside or something like that.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that. Like that's what I was considering is like Monday, Wednesday, Friday or something, going out to like my apartment complex's like pool and reading, like laying in the one of like the beach chair things that they have there and reading during
Yep.
like my lunch break. I just I just really don't feel like going out there and sweating. That's my problem. I'm just like, oh, I just don't want to sweat right now. And I'm just like a lot of time I'm just really tired. I mean, I could just go take like an hour nap. That would actually help a lot of my sleep if I just went and took an hour nap outside. But I have to flip. I want to make sure I get both sides. I got to do a half hour on my front and half hour on my back. So
That's why audiobooks, you got me into them, and they're a godsend when it
mhm,
comes to that. You just
I
have, like,
told
for
you,
me, my AirPods in, and you
yeah,
just sit there.
yeah. Audiobooks are great. The only problem with audiobooks is you got to find a good narrator because there's some narrators that fucking suck.
Well, so I
Um,
did Arnold's autobiography, and he does the first two chapters and the last two chapters, and it's I'm German. I've listened to this. I mean, Austrian accents are different, but at the end of the day, it's a
yeah,
Germanic tongue, so
yeah.
I'm used to it. But it's still really surprising to hear chapter one.
Chapter one: How to build a good body. I'm starting to watch the Arnold documentary on Netflix too. I like everybody's talking about it right now. They're like, it's even
I haven't watched it because I feel like it's gonna be a lot of what I just like listened to.
So that's what I was about to say. So the C-Bomb podcast, the reason I started watching the documentary is because other people are telling me to watch it who don't bodybuild. Like my wife's boss, who runs the daycare she works at, she said you guys got to watch it. So like,
Yeah,
there's way more to it than just. It's not like we're watching Pumping Iron. You know, it's not like about bodybuilding. It's just about his life. And during that podcast, the guy interviewing C-Bum says that like, even though the interviewer is not American, I think he's like British or something. I forget what his accent was. Might have been Swedish or something. I don't know. But he said even though that he's not American, he said after watching that he felt a sense of pride, like patriotism from it, because like it just shows what it's like to kind of be an American and move to America and what it's like to be here as part of the documentary. And he said it was very intriguing. And he's been here plenty of times. That guy's been here plenty of times to know what it's like already. But that's what made me want to watch it. I'm like, okay, so it's not just about bodybuilding. It's way more than that. And it already is. Like I'm like 20 minutes into the first episode. That's it. And it's just been about how he got, like how he was raised. Like he talked about
yep.
like the generational differences and like what his parents were like versus like how they are today, and what
Has he
Austria
gotten
looks
in?
like.
Has he gotten into his dad's drinking yet?
Yeah, he actually started talking about how his dad's alcoholism and
Yep.
like how competitive his dad was in every single aspect of his life.
Yep.
Like they
That's what
would
I
go
mean. Like
out
I.
and
This is what I mean. Like I can tell you, if you gave me the year, I could probably tell you what's going to happen next
yeah,
because
I
I
mean
just listened to it.
it's not that strict yet. I think you're talking about the 50s right now or something. Like it's just like the timeline of like the stories he was telling. I think was in the 50s when he was a kid, but yeah, it's really good so far, and it's like professionally made. It's not like some like low
When
budget documentary.
let me know when you get to the story of his mom bringing his brother to the hospital because that is a legendary story.
All right, yeah, he was talking about her too and how clean she was.
Yeah,
Um,
there's one story in particular where his brother got really sick, and what his mom does is just like absolute like yeah, if you ever hear the stories of like mom lifting cars to get their kids out, it's the same level. Like it's absurd.
yeah, yeah, that's how I want to be as a dad. I want to be the fucking dad that like all the kids go to school and my kids like, yeah, my dad's stronger than your dad, and they're like, yeah, you're right. You know what I mean?
It's like
Like they win that
the
argument every
meme
time.
the meme of Beetlejuice walking into that club with his Packers jersey on and the sunglasses, and he's like, me walking in knowing that I out bench press everybody in the company and therefore own the company.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's what I want them to do walking into school is just knowing that their dad's fucking biggest one there, like biggest dad
Yep.
of all their friends. You know, like that's my goal. I want to be a fucking gigantic dude just holding a little tiny ass baby. Like that's what I want. You know what I mean? And I want to be able to literally lift a car if I have to.
Literally holding like palming like a protein thing, like the big jugs and the baby at the same time.
I got like Diamond Ties in one hand, my baby in the other hand, or like whatever I'm
my
sponsored by at the time,
my baby drinks Diamond Fruity Pebbles.
with a dash of Anavar. I mean, just the Fruity Pebble protein powder.
We mix breast milk with creatine. My kid's gonna be strong.
He's gonna be swole as fuck before he's walking. But yeah, no, that's the goal as a parent and as a dad. I'm excited to be a dad one day. It'll be
Hell yeah.
good. We're still talking about it. We're hoping next year. We're gonna pop out a little one. That's the goal. Just comes down to
I'll
money.
meet you there whenever I find someone to lock me down.
Yeah, yeah. When you find a crazy Latina that fits your
Something like
bill,
that.
there
Something like
is
that.
yeah something like that. So whatever your type is, I'm not even fully sure what your type is, but you like him. You like him a little crazy sometimes.
Crazy keeps it
Um,
interesting, but yeah, there's one type in particular, but not for the podcast.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Um, but yeah, so all good stuff lately. I'm trying to think what else can I add about my yeah. So for those that don't know, I did have a stomach bug last weekend. Trying to record the podcast last weekend, then we ended up posting about Joe Lindner. I was trying not to shit my brains out the entire time.
Yep,
Doesn't seem like it, but I was right after we were done. I went to the bathroom and shit my brains out. It was really bad
that's what he's
for
saying. That's what he's saying. But if you listen to it, turn up your bass all the way. Every 3 minutes, you'll hear.
No, dude, I couldn't even fart, bro. It was so bad. I could not trust a
Yeah,
fart. I'd shit
yeah, I was gonna
myself.
say, you texted me and you're like, "I can't trust it, man. I can't, I can't."
No, you can't. I can trust it now, which is weird. It's weird being able to fart now because before, like you can't fart when when you have a stomach bug like that because you're just gonna shit yourself. There's no
Yeah,
such thing as farting. But yeah, it was so bad, and it was probably a good solid 3 days of it being pretty bad. Monday was bad too. Towards the end of the night, like the nighttime, it was weird because like what sucked is that when I would sit on the toilet, I'd feel fine. It would go away. I'd feel completely normal. I'd stand up. It would come rushing back.
yep.
It sucked. So I ended up sitting on the toilet for like on and off for like an hour and a half, just trying to get through that night. And then I got through it and
Standing
we
up,
were
sitting
fine.
down, standing up.
Literally, that's exactly what it was. Like I tried everything I could possibly think of to get through that. And finally it happened and we were good. But yes, Friday, Saturday, I was just so fucking depleted. I ended up hitting a chest day. I actually had a really good chest pump. It was actually surprising. But it was so hard. So I ended up losing roughly 5 pounds of weight in the span of about 3 days. Because of that stomach bug. It actually did kind of set us up for the future because like this morning I weighed myself and I was 186, where my last weigh in on no, it was Tuesday. My last weigh in on Tuesday was 184.5. And I knew I was going to put a little bit more weight probably back on once I started holding on to water, holding on to food, all of that. But just being 186 now after a few days, only a pound and a half, really, that's really not that bad considering I started the stomach bug at like almost 190. So, I mean, we're keeping it off for the most part, which is exciting.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it sucked and I got through it. But it also made me appreciate prep because it was just like I didn't want to eat anything. Like you were there when we were recording, like before we pressed record, like I was gagging trying to eat my tilapia and rice, like doused in mustard, even like just fucking
yep.
gagging. I just couldn't do it. I ended up not even finishing it. And I did tell my coach, I was like, over the weekend, Saturday specifically, mainly, Sunday as well, but mainly Saturday. I was like, I only had part of each meal really. I was like, so overall, I probably overall missed a couple meals a day because I just couldn't fucking stomach it. It just nothing like just smelling or even just thinking about food made me want to throw the fuck up. It's just my body was telling me like, dude, you don't want food right now. Like we just need to focus on getting the shit out of you, literally. So we got through it, and it's just like it just made me appreciate it because when you're in prep, you're just hungry. You're just hungry going into each meal. You're kind of tired, not really physically exhausted, just mentally because you just don't have much in your system. So you're just kind of mentally tired. Um, and then especially towards like peak week, you start getting physically tired, but mentally tired for most of it. You're hungry. You just want to eat. That's all you want to do. But because of that, whenever you eat something, you know, whatever it is, most like it's going to taste good. Right now, fish isn't tasting very good for me, but if I put mustard on it, it tastes good. And with the stomach bug, I had to force feed a lot of my meals, and that's when I
Yeah,
texted you. I was like, dude, I like every time I had like going through prep, I'm like, man, I wish I could just force feed right now, like that have that much food. But then I force feed, I'm like, dude, this sucks so fucking bad. Like I'd rather be hungry now that I force fed for the first time in forever. Like I would rather be hungry all day long than have to force feed. Like
it's
it's
no
just
fun.
it sucks so fucking bad. I can't even express it. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, but like it fucking sucks when you're gagged and you still got to eat and you don't even doesn't taste good anymore because you just want to be done and all you want to do is stop eating. Oh,
That's what's turned in my. I have two shakes, two of the same shake every day, and it's basically a banana peanut butter. There's other stuff in it, but those are the
yeah.
base, like for flavor. Doesn't taste good anymore. It tastes like I'm drinking like soggy cardboard with like
Hmm.
I don't know, like bong water. Like that's what it tastes like
Yeah.
to me, and it's disgusting. And I know if I didn't have it for like a week and then had it again, it'd be great. I would
Yeah.
love it. But it's just I'm forcing it so much. That's what I had before I came because I had to drive over to my buddy's place to record tonight. But I had my rice and pork, which is well, I always have rice and pork and then one of these smoothies, and it's my pre-gym meal. I already went to the gym today, but I keep my meals the same. But it was I have the rice and pork goes down easy because it's nothing else. It's just that, and then drinking. drinking is supposed to make it easier, but it's hard to get that other one down. And it's
Yeah.
like it doesn't taste good anymore. It's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, it sucks. And I think that's also kind of why fish got ruined for me too, is because it just like the stomach bug and just associating fish with how I felt. It's
Yep.
just tilapia and salmon is just so hard to get down now. So I think next time I'm gonna eat through the. I bought cans of salmon. Canned salmon is pretty much identical to frozen salmon, as far as like nutrition goes and how healthy it is and whatnot. I think once I run through these cans, it should be just a couple days. If we don't change the plan tomorrow after my weigh-in, I'm just gonna start buying frozen salmon and cooking it on the grill because I remember peak week we had a couple meals of salmon and rice, and dude, I could have fucking cried. It tasted so good. It didn't taste like salmon. It didn't taste fishy. It tasted like honestly, what it tasted like was sushi. It tasted like a salmon roll, is what it tasted like.
Yeah.
So if I could just cook it in a similar way to that without the rice, granted, it'll probably taste amazing. It's just the canned shit is just so fucking fishy. I just gotta just tough it through the next couple cans really because they're expensive, like $5 a can, and it's like I get like about 10 ounces out of it. So I gotta just tough it through these next couple cans that I already bought, and then just move on from there. But it fucking sucks. Force feeding sucks so much ass. Um,
Yep.
but when you do that's why I say to you, like, just force feed it because part of force feeding also is that you're growing your stomach. And when you grow your stomach to a bigger size, you can stomach the meals easier. When I was with my previous coach, we had a lot of calories as well, 3.5, 4,000 calories or whatever. At the time, it was a lot for me. And I had to force feed in the beginning and it sucked. But then once I got used to it, I enjoyed every single meal because my stomach was big enough to handle it now. I had to train my stomach to eat it.
That actually is. I was watching a not documentary, just a little YouTube video while I ate earlier today, and it was Golden Era versus modern bodybuilding, and how Golden Era, they still looked proportionally phenomenal. Like it was, best era of bodybuilding. But then modern bodybuilders, they're just so much bigger, and the gut is a big thing. Like the bubble gut that develops,
Yeah.
like what hits. Well,
A
who's the guy?
bloating
I think
issue.
it's. I think
Palumbo.
Big
Dave
Ramy
Palumbo.
has that. Well, I mean modern, like who's going through it right now. I
Yeah.
think Ramy has a problem with it, but a
Phil
lot,
Heath
and
did.
especially yeah, a lot of the guys in open are the ones who
Mm-hmm.
struggle with it, and it's like that. It's because they're eating so much more now than back then. They ate, still for like a bodybuilding diet, like not like a measly amount of food. Like it was a decent amount of food, but nowadays it's like there was the guy Greg Kovacs.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say he was like Swedish or whatever. He was doing 13,000 calories a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know how fucking much that is, and he got the bubble gut bloating and everything. Like,
Yeah, that's the bubble gut thing is also a problem. It stems a little bit from the size of the stomach, but also it's called Palumboism because that's who had it first that people remember was Dave Palumbo, and it comes down to something to do with like insulin sensitivity and potentially even taking insulin on top of taking too much carbs prior to the show, which you then end up bloating. And that's what it is. It's just a very harsh bloat. And there's nothing that they can do about it. You can't just like extract the gas. You can't just fart and it's gone. It stays for the day. So that's the problem. Phil Heath had it. He had it pretty bad. There's beef that him and Kai had because Kai stood to the side and looked at his gut and was like gave him attitude by looking at him because it's like
yeah,
you're trying to bring the best package ever. He ended up fucking winning, but he's like, you're supposed to be this like multi-winning Olympia, and you're coming in with this bubble gut. And Kai didn't have it. He didn't have one. So, but like, yeah, the bubble gut is an issue, and overeating is an issue for men's open bodybuilders. Not so much men's physique guys or classic physique guys can sometimes have the issue where they get too big, but men's physique guys don't have the problem. But men's open do, where they overeat like that. They eat too much. When someone like Brian Shaw doesn't eat as much as you eat when you're a men's open bodybuilder, that is a problem. The most I've ever seen of a healthy eating bodybuilder is 9,000 calories. That's the
yeah.
most I've ever seen. At least anecdotally, that's the most I've ever seen. Probably more, but 13,000 is definitely not good calories you're taking in there. There's no way, and it's not good for you. You don't need that much. That's my opinion.
And it really just, I mean, it's the difference of bodybuilding then versus now. I mean, that's why I stick to classic physique so much, because it just, for me, like watching the Arnolds, or, that's what I want to watch. Like, that's what appeals to me. Like, open just doesn't
Arnold
appeal to
was
me.
big though. He was like
I
250 on
know.
stage. Yeah, he's bigger
I
than the classic guys.
And that's what I say my stage weight. I want my stage weight to be 245. So I feel that.
Yeah, that's either the upper range or probably past the upper range of classic physique as far as stage weight goes. I want
Yeah.
to say. Stage weight for classic physique is not as much as people think it is. And when you see classic physique guys, like when I saw the classic physique guys at the local show, they're really not as big as you think that they're going to be. The men's open guys even aren't nearly. I mean, granted, we're talking regional, so they're all not as big as they're supposed to be. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, like they did have a guest poser there who's a pro, and he was much bigger than all the men's open guys. But the class physique guys were really not nearly as big as you think. And a lot of the guys who competed in men's physique can also compete in classic physique. Like that's just the size translation is just easy. It's easy for that. It's not as big as you think it is, but it's also very healthy. Classic physique is a lot healthier than men's open. And that's what C-Bum touches on in that podcast. He's like, there's really no reason for him to push like a shit ton of drugs right now because he's at the upper limit of his weight in the class. So, and that's
Oh,
like peeled.
I saw something that said that he's changing to open.
C-Bum?
Yeah, I heard.
Oh,
I might be
never.
wrong, but I think I saw something.
There's never. Breon Ainsley, I think he's doing 212 now, but he's been back and forth. But C-Bum will never do men's open. That'll never happen. He's too good in classic. He's the reigning champ. He's too good.
Yeah.
He'd have to put on way more size. He'd have to put on another 100 pounds in off season. The off season. Probably not
Well,
100,
it's
maybe
like
like 60 to 80, probably.
the where does he go from here? Because he's already won it 4 times in a row. Yeah, you can try and go for the 8 times in a row, but
I
why?
mean, same thing with the men's open guys. Like, why would they keep going? But the point is to beat your previous self, is to get better and better and
Yeah.
better. And ideally, at that point, you're gonna go down as a Mr. Olympia, but will you go down as a legend? Like
Yep.
that's what the goal is at that point. So C-Bum's going to go down as arguably the most popular bodybuilder of all time, as well as a legend within classic physique who really brought it to the headlines. Like if it wasn't for C-Bum, classic physique would not be where it is today. Not even close.
When you say like bodybuilding to like the younger generation, they can't even name open competitors. They name like C-Bum.
Yeah, yeah. People are starting to stop talking about open.
Yeah.
Open's gonna slowly die out. And what's also good too is at the same time, I see men's physique being more and more common now too. Now that it's getting bigger and leaner, you're seeing a lot more men's physique guys too, which is great.
Yeah.
And the smaller board shorts, the smaller and smaller the board shorts, the more and more guys you're going to see compete. So that's also a great thing too. And men's physique guys really, I know you don't like it, but we're really not that much smaller than the classic physique guys.
And I don't ever say that you're not. It's
Yeah,
my argument is always the posing stuff.
yeah, just the posing and the legs, the lack of the legs, but that's also dying out too. Lack of legs is also dying out, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the current state. But yeah, we had a problem with Logan Franklin with what we were talking about earlier with the traveling with the foods. He had a problem. Logan Franklin, who's one of my favorite classic physiques, he had a problem with I think he had a stomach bug similar to what I had the week of the show. And they decided to pull out because he was not going to come to 100%, and he would have had to really push his body to get there, and it just would not have happened.
Yeah.
But it ended up being food poisoning. It was food poisoning because he traveled with fish. And that's one thing I will never recommend is do not ever travel with fish. Just cook it fresh, ideally as much as possible. You don't want to travel with it. I try to make maybe one day in advance. Like I'll make like right now for my tilapia, I'll make like I'll cook it in the oven and I'll maybe have like 2 meals cooked already,
Yeah.
and I just got to heat it up in the microwave. Anything more than that, I'm not fucking with it. I don't want cooked tilapia in the fridge for more than a day. So don't travel with tilapia or fish or anything like that. Swai, ideally stay away from swai, but like anything like that, cod, haddock, stay away from all
Chick-
that.
chicken and beef, my friends. Cook
Yeah,
it and
just
eat
stick
it
to
7 days later.
stick to that shit because you really can cook chicken and eat it a week later. I've done it plenty of
That's
times.
my Sunday meals. I mean, granted, like I mentioned earlier, taste is really falling by the wayside, but My
Yeah.
Sunday meals are more or less tasting the same as my Monday meals.
Yep. Exactly. So yeah, you just got to be careful of that. But besides that, yeah, you got to be careful of the fish. Red meat and white meat, as far as chicken goes, is not too bad.
Yeah.
To travel with is really not that bad. But yeah, just be careful because you can get food poisoning very easily from fish. It's way too easy, and I make sure that I overcook my fish a little bit, just to be sure that it's done. But
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta be careful. But take everything we say as advice and not as how it should be. 100%. You can
Grain
adapt
of
anything
salt.
that we say. Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. You can adapt it to however you want to adapt it to. What works for us might not work for you guys, but at the end of the day, this is just what we experience and what we see and stuff like that. So, um,
If this podcast wasn't Hall of Gains and Hypertrophy, it would be like anecdotal advice.
yeah, literally, it's just like anecdotal fitness advice.
Yeah.
ADF, or no, AFA, anecdotal
Yeah.
fitness advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, get to the chopper. Yeah. So,
Missed
anyways,
opportunity.
yeah. But appreciate you guys listening. Again, if you guys have any questions, email us hghpodcast1@gmail.com or DM us directly. We can talk about it. We're just waiting to build up some questions and then we'll go from there. But we appreciate you guys listening. We love doing this. We love chatting. And we look forward to it every week. So appreciate you guys listening.
Hell yeah, guys. All right, everybody.
We'll see you guys.
Peace.